Enforcement Directorate as well. Just a couple of minutes back, there were multiple Congress reporters that had come to the barricading that was set up by the Enforcement Directorate officials and the police officials over here. I'll request my camera person to take you straight to the visuals. Right in front of me is the barricading where the entire protest erupted, whereas the police officials were swift enough to take swift action and detained all the workers who had come here protesting. However, we spoke to a couple of protesters over there and they have been urging only one thing, that it is their right to protest. However, we've seen how massive protest is erupting at the side of AICC as well. However, Rahul Gandhi is inside. He came around 11:15 over here, and the grilling, the day 2 session of the ED grilling has already begun. This comes after a 10-hour deep grilling session of Rahul Gandhi, the most senior Congress leader over here in the National Herald case. And as we know that there were multiple aspects because of which the Enforcement Directorate was not satisfied. There were multiple questions that remained unanswered and were very important to substantiate the entire claim of corruption that has been alleged by the Enforcement Directorate, and which is why the entire
नहीं लगेगी यार, नहीं लगेगी। छोड़ो यार, ये क्या कर दिया? अरे कहाँ खड़े हो? छोड़ दो यार, खड़े हो भैया, अंदर आ जाओ, अंदर आ जाओ। देखिए, पुलिस का तानाशाही, अरे खींचो नहीं तो भाई, पुलिस का तानाशाही नहीं चलेंगे। बता लेंगे ईडी लगा दिया, हम लोगों का कपड़ा फाड़ दिया। अरे बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ, बेटी बचाओ याद रखा जाएगा। नरेंद्र मोदी मुर्दाबाद। देश का जनता राहुल जी के दिल में है, देश का जनता के दिल में गांधी परिवार है। गांधी परिवार को लेकर
A massive protest has erupted outside the ED as well, and as we know that the senior Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is inside the Enforcement Directorate from where we are reporting. I'll request my camera person to show you around how the entire area has been calmed off of all the vehicles. No vehicle movement is allowed in this entire road in front of the Enforcement Directorate, and the barricading, double barricading has been done over here to make sure that the protesters who are arriving every now and then should not enter the Enforcement Directorate area and even the nearby premises in the vicinity. Right in front of me is the barricading where massive protest has just erupted. There were 2 buses full of Congress workers had come here, and they all have been detained by the police officials and have been taken to the nearby police station. There were women protesters as well, and they were also being pushed back by the police officials over here. It's a very crucial day as far as the grilling of the Enforcement Directorate is concerned, because Mr. Rahul Gandhi is yet to answer some of the very crucial questions that would really bridge the gap between the entire case that has been acting as a lapse until now. The Enforcement Directorate, according to our sources, we have come to know that we have been highlighting since yesterday that there were multiple questions to which the Enforcement Directorate has not received satisfactory answers. There were questions about the negotiation of the fund, the movement of the fund, and how the entire procedure of the National Herald case and its link between Young India and the way this entire case has been roped around needs to be deciphered, and which is why the Enforcement Directorate has taken the matter into the hand. And after a very long 10-hour grilling session of Mr. Rahul Gandhi that happened yesterday, once again he was summoned today, and at around 11:15 a.m. he reached here. We'll take you back to the visuals at the Enforcement Directorate office. As you can see, the security has been briefed. Everybody, only the people who have an appointment at the Enforcement Directorate or are working or are related to any sort of official work over here are only allowed at the Enforcement Directorate office. Rest, there is no vehicular movement in and around the entire vicinity, as we have seen that how these protests one after another are erupting at the AICC, at the Enforcement Directorate, because the Satyagrah call that was made by the Congress officials earlier today in the morning was in fact materialized. However, at the AICC office, we saw in that similar vicinity, they were all detained, all senior officials, including Chief Minister of Congress like Mr. Bhupesh Baghel. They all were detained by the police officials there at the AICC. However, we need to understand that it is a very serious case. However, the Congress has been saying that the Satyagrah is their right. Satyagrah is a call that can be made by any civilian of the Indian Constitution, as they have the right to protest. However, the police officials have made it clear. We also spoke to Special Law and Order Commissioner earlier today in the morning. He has said that we had made it abundantly clear that we have applied Section 144 and that no protests are allowed in here at the Enforcement Directorate or at the Akbar Road and the Man Singh Road, where all these protests are unfolding at the particular moment. They have made it abundantly clear that there was no permission given to conduct such a protest. He also asserted that if a protest was supposed to be carried out, there is a place at Jantar Mantar that could have been called out by the Congress leaders, but that did not happen, and which is why they were duty bound. And the action, the detentions that were done yesterday, of which the Congress party has been calling out that the most senior officials were detained for multiple hours and were released around 11:30 and without any FIR, to which the police commissioner official said that yes, of course, they will have to act as per the law, and that is what they have been doing and they continue to do so. Stay tuned to Republic TV. We will be getting you fastest updates of this unfolding story of National Herald case and the grilling of Rahul Gandhi at the Enforcement Directorate.